Velkommen alle sammen, welcome to the channel where we use the historical sources to speak about Norse and Viking history, and today we're speaking about something a little bit more modern and techy, and that is the Bluetooth logo. So this technology logo is named after the Viking king Harald Bluetooth, and the name is his initials written in runes like you can see here. And the story goes that Harald Bluetooth was the first king to unify the tribes of Scandinavia. Bluetooth inventor Jim Kardach wanted to name this new technology after King Bluetooth because they both accomplish the same things, unity and communication, but as usual, the mainstream leaves out huge parts of the story and gets things completely wrong very often. So in this video, I'm telling you about who the real Harald Bluetooth was, and who was really kind of an asshole. Okay, so the problem with a lot of these kings from the Viking Age is that the sources say different things about them, and certain sources are definitely more reliable than others. But anyway, what we do know is that he was a Danish king that reigned from the year 958 to 986. We don't know exactly when he was born, but it was probably in the 920s sometimes, and he died right around the time that his reign ended in 986. All of this is quite late in the Viking Age, actually, and a critical time when Christianity was trying to establish itself in Scandinavia. Now, where does the name Bluetooth come from? That's the most important thing. Well, we only have one source that refers to him by this nickname, and that is this source that you see here. Here it refers to him as Blåtan, or Blåtan, meaning bluish or bluish-black tooth. We are not 100% sure why. One chronicle a couple hundred years later after his time said that he must have been called this name because he had a rotten bluish black tooth. That sounds, probably not true. I mean, he was a king, and if he had rotten teeth, his people probably would not have used this nickname to insult their king. But this king is a bit different because the Danish people actually hated him because he was a Christian and he tried to force that religion on the pagan people there. And I'll tell you exactly why in just a minute, but yes, he was hated. It might be possible that he actually was called this name, Bluetooth, as a derogatory thing to insult or make fun of him. I have heard historians in more modern times suggest that this nickname was because he loved blueberries and it colored his teeth blue. I don't know about that. Blueberries don't grow a whole lot in Denmark. If he was living in the mountains of Norway, I would say maybe, because blueberries are everywhere there, of course, but in Denmark, not so much. If you ask my opinion, I say his nickname Bluetooth was a metaphor, because in the Old Norse language, it's filled with metaphors and hidden meanings they call kenningar, but much of these meanings were totally lost when Christianity came in, and most of them we have absolutely no idea about now. One possibility is that sometimes bluish-black color is a metaphor for the dead, since that's the color that a corpse turns. So maybe Harald had a taste for dead people. Who knows? Maybe he liked to kill people, or maybe, cannibalism or something like that. No way to be sure. But that's just one possibility that this was a kenning, as much Norse poetry and names were made up of. Anyway, let's get on into his life. He started as a king of Denmark, but was able to convince a part of Norway to come under his rule when the Norwegian king Harald Greycloak was assassinated. And actually he was King Bluetooth's nephew, his sister's son. And there was really no one suitable enough or old enough to be the king of all Norway at that time, so Harald Bluetooth took temporary control over Norway. I think it was for about 5-10 years, but I'll put that up on the screen. And this is where the Bluetooth story comes from, of unification and communication within the kingdoms and tribes of Scandinavia. However, I don't think he unified people very well at all, and people hated him, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, each source here, like you can see, has a slightly different story, but they all have to do with this Christianization and backlash from the Danish people about this. One source here, Videkund of Convey, and Saxo Grammaticus, actually, they write that Harald Bluetooth was converted by a priest named Papa, and he performed miracles to make Harald a believer. Another story said that Harald was forcibly converted after a defeat in battle to the German king and Roman Emperor Otto I. And the third, this is probably the most reliable source, honestly, in my opinion, Heimskringla, and he writes that Harald converted willingly because of a peace agreement with the German king Otto II. Either way, he became Christian and his people were not very happy. Even his son, Svein Forkbeard, did not appreciate his father converting to this new religion, so eventually he started an uprising in Denmark and led a revolt against his father with the love and support of the Danish and Norwegian people. And that was it. They had a battle, and Harald Bluetooth dies from the battle wounds shortly after, and his son Svein expelled him and all of the other Christian forces and churches out of the country. He's like, get the hell out of here, bitch, this is pagan country. So that's what they did. So Svein is one of our greatest heroes that our people ever had, and this is just the start of his story. He led an even bigger revolt a bit later on in time against the horrible king Olav Tryggvason, and he became king of Norway for a time, and he even became king of all England. But Svein's story is for another day. Another video speaking about his father Harald Bluetooth here. So as you can see, he was not that great of a king and he didn't unify the people at all. But if you do like him and want to see more, he had some very famous rune stones erected in Jelling, Denmark, and he's also, it's either him or his father buried in the church there in Jelling, and he even had his pagan father dug up from the traditional Norse burial mound and had him reburied the Christian way in a church graveyard. So, you know, if you're a Christian, most of them probably like Harald Bluetooth, but if you're pagan, you probably don't like him. So, anyway, that's the story of Harald. That's it for today. Vi ses nästa gång.